Now, one of the major stories of the week was this.
A pub in London is facing allegations of homophobia after claims by a gay couple that they were thrown out for kissing. Jonathan Williams and James Bull were asked to leave the John Snow pub in Soho after a complaint that their behaviour was obscene.
It's ridiculous. How can you throw people out of a pub just for kissing? In fact, how can you run a pub in Soho and be offended by a gay kiss? It's like being in the BNP and going, I fucking love Lenny Henry. You always hear bigots go, gay men are wrong. It says so in the Bible. Yeah, but the Bible also says hedges can talk and every animal in the world can fit on a boat. It's pathetic. Two men kissing isn't an obscene kiss. This is. Somebody wolf whistling over there. The brilliant thing about this story, within hours, the pub had to shut because of this protest.
Around 250 people have gathered here outside the John Snow pub to show their support to Jonathan Williams and James Bull. We've had no comment from the landlord of the pub this evening. The pub itself has been shut for the night.
I love that conga kiss in the brow. Right, they're on telly, right now. Not everyone was there to protest against homophobia. Some were just looking for a good time.
I just came to snog people. You're just here to snog people.
I don't care about the issues. I'm just horny. I say good on them for demonstrating against this pub, because when the gay community protests, they do it in style. Jesus had two dads and he turned out fine. Have a look at this story about a group of eco-warriors who make you proud to be British.
Well, the spotlight is still on a small village near Scarborough where the costly battle for one tree goes on.
There's a group of protesters who are trying to save a tree. And I think the tree's going to survive, because you rarely see commitment this inspiring.
Are you prepared to break the law?
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
So you're not saying no?
And I'm not saying yes.
Defiance! He's not the only brave soldier willing to risk his life.
What are you going to do if just someone says, you've got to get out, we're here with the chainsaw?
Well, I'll obviously get out. I'm not going to get squashed or get flattened. I'm not stupid.
He's such a hero. I'll tell you what, with passionate warriors like him, there's no way that tree is going to be chopped down. In fact, one day, I'm going to take my grandchildren to see that very tree.
And just over an hour ago, the beech tree hit the ground with an almighty thud.
Fuck it, Disneyland it is. So, what's going to happen to this fallen tree?
Well, some of the protesters here today have asked for part of that tree trunk to be saved for them. They want to turn it into a sculpture or perhaps a memorial plaque.
And I've seen the sculpture. Back in Blighty, Occupy London was hitting the headlines.
Protesters could remain camped outside St Paul's until the new year, after authorities offered to halt legal action.
Aside from the controversy about vicars losing their jobs and evictions, I couldn't take my eyes off the protesters. They gave some amazing interviews. This guy started off by moaning about the lives of the rich.
They still have their lavish dinners, they still have their chauffeur-driven rolls, they still have their butlers and their mansions.
All good points, but then he really lost it.
We're at home with our top shop beans, like separating each bean onto each plate for our children.
Top shop beans? No wonder his kids are upset, he's feeding them jumpers. My favourite protester was an Australian man called Francis Firebrace. This old fella is wonderful.
You can't hold me because I'm not doing any harm to anybody. I'm an elderly man. Come on, use your bloody nails a bit. Come on, guys, I love you guys.
Isn't that great? I love you guys. Just goes to show, if you're going to protest, you don't have to be violent.
OK, boys, which one of you fellas have I got to fight?
Or if your eyes out and stick him up your didgeridoo! But I still love you. Thousands of people marched through London to try and stop the cold, but the best thing, halfway through the march, the BNP tried to scare them off. And what happened to the BNP? They were chased through London by women dressed as badgers. How great is that? It's reason. Huge skinhead bigots were frightened of this lot. It must have been so funny. No surrender, no surrender. Ah! Badger girls! They're black and white! I don't know whether to love them or hate them! What's black and white and red all over? A badger protester kicking the shit out of a racist. So, what's been going on? Well, did you hear about the scandal at Claridge's?
40 mothers have staged a mass nurse-in protest outside Claridge's Hotel in London.
To protest over an incident in which a woman was asked to cover herself up when she was breastfeeding in the restaurant.
Mothers were breastfeeding on the pavements here outside Claridge's Hotel.
They're nip holes, they're not weapons.
It wasn't just the mums who were angry, some of the kids were livid. It's so pathetic. If you're offended by a woman breastfeeding, here's a tip. Don't fucking look! Oh, look, oh, look. There's a woman with her breasts out. How awful. How absolutely awful. Oh, mother. Do you know what I'd do? Do you know what I'd do if I was one of the mums? I'd go to Claridge's and breastfeed my kid wearing this hat. That's what you do! How can you be offended by this? There's nothing wrong with breastfeeding. It's perfectly natural. Unless, of course, you're the leader of UKIP.
UKIP leader Nigel Farage provoked an outcry and some ridicule today after suggesting breastfeeding mothers should do it in the corner because it makes some other people feel very embarrassed.
I'll tell you what, if we're putting blankets over tits we don't like, I think we all know what's going to happen.
It isn't too difficult to breastfeed a baby in a way that's not openly ostentatious. Was Claridge's wrong?
Vladimir wasn't just facing criticism from world leaders. Did you hear what this artist did as a protest against his homophobic policies? Graphic designer Fernando Sosa has created a perfect work of art that allows people to stick it to the Russian leader's anti-gay politics. And what is that piece of art, I hear you cry? It's a Vladimir Putin butt plug! A Vladimir Putin butt plug. Surely you call it Vlad the Impaler.